Welcome to ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 awareness training. In this training, we will learn about concept of ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 standards. First, we will discuss ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 in brief. ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 are among ISO's most well-known standards ever. They are implemented by more than 1 million organizations in some 175 countries. ISO 9001 helps organizations to implement quality management. ISO 14001 helps organizations to implement environmental management. In this part, we will discuss about the ISO 9000 family. ISO 9001 is the standard that gives the requirements for a quality management system. ISO 9001, 2015 is the latest, improved version. It is the only standard in the ISO 9000 family that can be used for certification. There are 16 other standards in the family that can help an organization on specific aspects such as performance improvement, auditing, training. Quality management also means what the organization does to enhance customer satisfaction and achieve continual improvement of its performance. In this part, we will discuss about environmental management system. ISO 14001 is for environmental management. This means what the organization does to minimize harmful effects on the environment caused by its activities, to conform to applicable regulatory requirements, and to achieve continual improvement of its environmental performance. In this part, we will discuss about generic standards. ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 are generic standards. Generic means that the same standards can be applied to any organization, large or small, whatever its product or service, in any sector of activity, and whether it is a business enterprise, a public administration, or a government department. Generic also signifies that no matter what the organization's scope of activity, if it wants to establish a quality management system, ISO 9001 gives the essential features. Or if it wants to establish an environmental management system, ISO 14001 gives the essential features. In this part, we will discuss about management systems. Management system means what the organization does to manage its processes or activities in order that its products or services meet the organization's objectives, such as satisfying the customer's quality requirements, complying to regulations, or meeting environmental objectives, to be really efficient and effective. The organization can manage its way of doing things by systemizing it. Nothing important is left out. Everyone is clear about who is responsible for doing what, when, how, why and where. Management system standards provide the organization with an international, state-of-the-art model to follow. Large organizations, or ones with complicated processes, could not function well without management systems. Companies in such fields as aerospace, automobiles, defense, or healthcare devices have been operating management systems for years. The ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 management system standards now make these successful practices available for all organizations. In this part, we will learn that ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 is all about processes, not products. Both ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 concern the way an organization goes about its work. They are not product standards. They are not service standards. They are process standards. They can be used by product manufacturers and service providers. Processes affect final products or services. ISO 9001 gives the requirements for what the organization must do to manage processes affecting quality of its products and services. ISO 14001 gives the requirements for what the organization must do to manage processes affecting the impact of its activities on the environment. In this part, we will discuss about the ISO 9000 family. ISO 9001 is the standard that gives the requirements for a quality management system. ISO 9001, 2015 is the latest, improved version. It is the only standard in the ISO 9000 family that can be used for certification. There are 16 other standards in the family that can help an organization on specific aspects such as performance improvement, auditing, training. In this part, we will discuss about the ISO 14000 family. ISO 14001 is the standard that drives the requirements for an environmental management system. ISO 14001 2015 is the latest, improved version. It is the only standard in the ISO 14000 family that can be used for certification. The ISO 14000 family includes 21 other standards that can help an organization specific aspects such as auditing, environmental labeling, life cycle analysis. In this part, we will discuss about benefits of ISO 9001 and ISO 14001. The benefits of ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 are following: international, expert consensus on state-of-the-art practices for quality and environmental management, common language for dealing with customers and suppliers worldwide in B2B, increase efficiency and effectiveness. Model for continual improvement, model for satisfying customers and other stakeholders, build quality into products and services from design onwards, address environmental concerns of customers and public, and comply with government regulations, integrate with global economy, sustainable business, unifying base for industry sectors, qualify suppliers for global supply chains, technical support for regulations, transfer of good practice to developing countries, tools for new economic players, regional integration, facilitate rise of services. In this part, we will discuss about ISO 9001-2015 clauses. ISO 9001-2015 has 10 clauses. Clauses from 1 to 3 are non-auditable clauses and clauses from 4 to 10 are auditable clauses. Clause 1 tells about scope. Clause 2 tells about normative references. Clause 3 tells about terms and definitions. Clause 4 tells about context of the organization. The clauses under context of the organization are following: understanding the organization and its context, understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties, determining the scope of quality management system and its processes. Clause 5 tells about leadership. The clauses under leadership are following: leadership and commitment, quality policy. Clause 6 tells about planning. The clauses under planning are following: actions to address risks and opportunities, quality objectives and planning to achieve them, planning of changes. Clause 7 tells about support. The clauses under support are following: resources, organizational knowledge, competence, awareness, communication, documented information. In next part, we will discuss about Clause 8, 9 and 10. In this part, we will discuss about Clause 8, 9 and 10 of ISO 9001-2015. Clause 8 tells about operation. The clauses under operation are following: operational planning and control, requirements for products and services, design and development of products and services, control of externally provided processes, products and services, production and service provision, post-delivery, control of change, release of products and services, control of non-conforming outputs. Clause 9 tells about performance evaluation. The clauses under performance evaluation are following: monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation, internal audit, management review. Clause 10 tells about improvement. The clauses under improvement are following: general, non-conformity and corrective action, continual improvement. So, all clauses under 4 to 10 are auditable clauses. In this part, we will discuss about clause of ISO 14001, 2015 standard. There are 10 clauses in ISO 14001, 2015 standard. From clause 1 to 3 are non-auditable clauses and from clauses 4 to 10 are auditable clauses. Clause 1 tells about scope, clause 2 tells about normative references, clause 3 tells about terms and definitions, clause 4 tells about context of the organization. The clauses under context of the organization are following: understanding the organization and its context, understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties, determining the scope of the environmental management system. Clause 5 tells about leadership. The clauses under leadership are following: leadership and commitment, environmental policy, organizational roles, responsibilities and authorities. Clause 6 tells about planning. The clauses under planning are following: actions to address risks and opportunities, general, environmental aspects, compliance obligations, planning action, environmental objectives and planning to achieve them, environmental objectives, planning actions to achieve. In next part we will discuss about clauses 7, 8, 9 and 10. In this part we will discuss about clauses 7, 8, 9 and 10. Clause 7 tells about support. The clauses under support are following: resources, competence, awareness, communication, general, internal communication, external communication, documented information. Clause 8 tells about operation. The clauses under operation are following: operational planning and control, life cycle perspective, emergency preparedness and response. Clause 9 tells about performance evaluation. The clauses under performance evaluation are following: monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation, general, evaluation of compliance, internal audit, management review. Clause 10 tells about improvement. The clauses under improvement are following: general, non-conformity and corrective action, continual improvement. So, that is the all about ISO 14001, 2015 standard clauses. In this part we will learn about first-party audits. First-party audits are the internal audits. Typically, they are performed by a company's own staff to measure how well the company is or isn't achieving business objectives. This ISO audit is a conformity assessment to check for compliance gaps and to prepare an organization for an external ISO certification audit, that is, a third-party audit. Usually first-party auditors will be enterprise employees, but they shouldn't have a vested interest in the audit results. In this part we will learn about second-party audit. A second-party audit or external audit is usually performed at the request of a customer, often by an audit firm contracted to act on the customer's behalf, on a supplier of products or services. The second-party audit assures that the supplier is doing what it has promised to do, based on the contractual agreements. In this case, qualified staff members or employees of an outside consulting firm can perform a second-party audit. A company will likely want to combine the results of a second-party audit with its own first-party audits, so the company will know when it's ready for an ISO certification. In this part we will learn about third-party audit. The third-party audit is a certification audit. An organization typically undertakes a third-party audit when it wants to achieve an ISO certification. During the certification audit, a certification body auditor, that is, an auditor formally certified to perform audits for ISO standard in question, assesses whether an enterprise complies with the appropriate ISO standard. If so, the certification body auditor will award the certification. As part of this audit process, the auditor may assess the company's adherence to the ISO standards requirements. These could include, but are not limited to, time, temperature, responsiveness. and component mixture, look closely at the resources, methods, and environment the company uses to transform inputs into outputs and the criteria used to determine performance. Examine the process controls to assure they are both efficient and effective. The auditor may also take a closer look at daily operations and training procedures to verify that the expectations for the standard have been met, since most ISO standards that are eligible for certification govern systems, for example, quality management systems, information security management systems, food safety management systems, and environmental management systems. ISO certification audits are generally system audits. We hope that you understand the basic concept of ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 standard from this training.